Alright, so this is the second verse of the Sankhya darshan. It is actually a bit interesting, so let me start. Na drishtat thasiddhir nivritterapi anuvritti darshanat. Okay, so I'll start. It's a little hard than the previous one, but it's okay. We'll do it. Na is not. The idea goes this way. I'll read the sentence in English as well. Not from what is perceptible comes that realization. This is a different sentence. It is nadrishtat satsiddhir is this line. So na is not from that which is seen. Drishtat, that which is seen. Tat is that. Siddhir is basically siddhi. I'll tell you. It comes from the word siddhi. Siddhi is a realization, an accomplishment, something that you have achieved, an ability, a virtue that you have gained. It's basically virtues that are gained. It is not simply a virtue. Siddhi is when you gain a virtue. That's a good one, a noble virtue, especially a noble virtue, by the way. Siddhi, you say you have gotten siddhi when you have attained a noble virtue. Now, coming back. Nadrishtat tat siddhir, not from what is perceptible, not from what is seen comes that noble virtue that you gain. Okay, that is the first line. Not from what is perceptible comes that realization, that noble virtue that you gain. Nivrittirapi, nivritti is basically cessation, ending, closure. Nivrittirapi, api is like even though, even after. So the sentence goes, nivrittirapi, for even after its ending, whose ending? The realizations, for even after the ending of the accomplishment. Anuvrittir darshanat. No, nivrittir is ending, anuvritti is repetition. It's basically the opposite. Nivritti is ending, cessation. Anuvritti is a repetition, recurrence. So even after the realization has ended, the recurrence of the realization can be seen. Anuvritti darshanat. Now let me explain what it actually means. The point is that you say that you have realized something. You say that I have realized something. How do you realize anything? How does realization work? How does gaining a virtue... Let's start with realization. Realization or a noble virtue. Now you say that you have seen a noble virtue in a particular person. And then you say that if you say that you have seen a noble virtue in a person, you're also going to say that the noble virtue doesn't exist when you don't see it. That's how it works. If the virtue is simply existing because you are identifying it, then the virtue also, by that logic, cannot exist when you're not identifying it. So, you say that he is smart because I see so. He is smart because he wrote an exam. I have conducted an exam. The child has written. He has gotten a particular grade. The man is smart. If I were not to conduct that exam, if I were not to do all of that, then I would hence declare the child not to be smart. I'm not saying the child is dumb, but I would also not say the child is smart. For unless I see that the child is smart, I'm not saying it, then by that logic one must understand that I'm only giving a noble virtue after I see it. But then does it mean that when I don't see the virtue, it doesn't exist in that man? So hence, the line says, it is not because you see that there is a realization. It is not because you observe that the man has a noble virtue inside him. Whether you observe, whether you don't observe, the man has a life. And that life leads him to have certain virtues inside of him, certain characteristics inside of him, certain realizations inside of him. So whether you observe, whether you don't observe, that is the reality. That will continue to be the case. That will be. It shall, for it has always been. Now, you observe, you note down, you observe, you understand. You are the one writing down the fact that, this man is of such virtue, this man is of such behavior. That is something you are writing down. That is not necessarily the truth of that man, simply because you are observing. Because why? Because even if the realization has ended. But it's very interesting over here. This line can be applied in both ways, and I'll tell you. When I say the realization has ended, when I say, let us take a man you said is smart, when I say the smartness has ended, it does not mean that the man is no longer smart, no. But the method through which you identify the man to be smart no longer identifies the man to be smart. It is like there is a child. For the first 4 to 10 years of his life, people in the school have graded him to be smart. And then suddenly in university, he acts very poorly, and the university grades him to not be smart. But still, even if after the ending of that grade, even if you declare something upon the man, even if you declare he no longer has that virtue, the recurrence of such can be seen. And here such is different, by the way. Here, the ending is not the man himself not having that virtue, but it is the outside. Now I'll talk about Jivatma and Paramatma. There is a Jivatma, there is Paramatma. Paramatma comes, looks at Jivatma, declares Jivatma has a certain set of virtues. Virtues 1, virtue 2, virtue 3. Jivatma then again comes and says that Paramatma again comes and says that Jivatma does not have all these virtues. Let us start again. Paramatma comes, says Jivatma has virtues 1, 2, 3. Then again Paramatma comes and says, no, you don't have all these virtues. Now, even though Paramatma declares that you don't have all these virtues, another Paramatma will come and declare some other virtue in Jivatma. Another Paramatma will come and declare something else. Just because you say that the man doesn't have doesn't mean the other man doesn't say. And yet, beyond all these Paramatmas, the man still continues to have that virtue. The recurrence of such is seen. Here the sentence goes in both ways. The sentence goes that you observe something in this man, someone else observes something else. You consider him to be smart in a particular category. Someone else considers him to be smart in some other category. Now the question is the man smart or not? Is he smart just because you are observing him to be? So does it mean he is not smart when you're not observing? But then does it also mean that smartness as a trait does not exist in him? Now, it goes to another level. Do you impart smartness just because you are observing him? Only in such a case can smartness be when you are observing. If it is an inherent quality of the man, it actually must exist irrespective of whether you observe or whether you don't. But if the trait only comes because of observation, then it is a trait that comes because of observation. Then you are declaring that in your observation you are giving him a trait, that he becomes smarter because you are observing him, and that he becomes dumber because you are not observing him. But then you take that into theory, and then you must have men becoming more smarter just because you are observing them. But such is not the case. And that is the line. Not from what is perceptible comes that realization. Not because you are observing comes his trait. His virtues, his behavior don't come because you are observing. Because even when you stop observing, such behaviors continue. Because someone else observes them actually. You are just someone who observes that the behavior exists. You are not the reason for its existence. You observe that there is a man who can play music. He is not playing because you can observe. He is independently playing music. You are independently observing him. You have observed that there is a musician. His music does not come from your observation. That is the meaning. The recurrence of such can be seen. The repetition of what? The fact that this man will be playing music and other men will be observing him. Just because you have not observed does not mean some other man will not observe. Just because you have not observed, you declare he is of no talent. But right in that moment of time, some other man can come up and say, no, he has some talent. For if talent is there, it can be observed. What is will always be, and what has not been has never been. This is a very important part of Hindu philosophy. That is what is said in the Bhagavad Gita. Now, the Sanskrit line I don't remember, but the line goes as such. If there is something that is alive, what is alive will always be. I'll write it in English. What is alive will always be. What has not been there has never been. What dies, actually, has never been. And let me tell you, someone who loves you will love you forever. That who has loved will love forever. But if someone has not loved you, then they have never loved you. There is no situation where a person can love you for 6 months and not love you for the next 7 months. It's not possible, actually. What makes him love you will forever make him love you. Then he has never loved you. Then he has acted like a man who has loved you. Then she has acted like a lady who has loved you. Then that acting, the person who actually does behave like that will forever love you. For that acting loves you. Whatever it takes to act like that loves you. Whatever it takes to be that loves you. For what loves you will always love you. But what has not loved you can never love you. What does not love you can for a moment behave like someone who can love you. And he will always have it in him to behave like someone who can love you, but he will and can never love you. Going back, not from what is perceptible comes that realization, not because you are observing. So that is how Sanskrit is written, that it is not there because you are observing. It is there. You need to understand. It is independently there. The man is a musician. He is there. He plays music. You observe. You observe that he is a musician. But from your observation, music does not come to him. It is very simple. Let us say you are creating art. Just because someone is looking at you, you don't become more of an artist. He observes. He writes down that you draw. And now, if he is not observing, then someone else will observe. But the fact that fundamentally that you are an artist, you are bound to be observed by people. You're bound to be called an artist, good or bad. You're bound to be called one. Because you are, and you need to understand, that which you are, you will forever be. That's one more line. That which you are, you will forever be. The intricate part of this little sentence comes from the fact, not from what is perceptible comes that realization. That's understood. Not even after its ending. The ending is not that the person himself loses his virtue. No, this ending is not about the person losing the virtue, but the ending of the observation. So I'll write down. Even after its ending, the observation. Even after the person stops observing you, the recurrence of such can be seen, and the recurrence is that other people observe. Other people observe. So there are 3 parts. Here, in the first part, we talk about the realization. Here, the ending, the word, is about the observation, the ending of the observation, not the ending of the realization. The recurrence is other people observing. The act of someone coming, observing and going, someone coming, declaring and going, that act. The recurrence of the act of observing can be seen. It will continue. It will forever happen. Just because you are not doing it does not mean the act itself will stop. Now, you need to understand, because the act itself keeps going on, you need to understand this man is a musician. He is. And because he is independent of you, other people come and judge the man. Everybody comes and judges the man. If the man no longer has talent just because you stop observing him, then other people should not be able to observe him when you're not there. If man is getting music because you are looking at him, he should get more music because you are looking at him. And when you are not looking at him, other people should not call him a musician. But he will play. He will be on the street. He'll hold a violin. He'll play on the streets of London. People will be looking at him. And you will cross by. You will say, oh, wonderful musician. Other people will come and say so. Just because you have crossed paths with him does not give him ability. That is the essence of this entire verse. It is also important to understand that people's virtues exist within them because of their own life. They don't come because of observation. Observation is of many kinds, by the way. It can be an examination, it can be a test, a judgment. No judgment gives a person their behavior. Just because you have declared something, your declaration is not the reason because of which the characteristic exists inside the person. There is a characteristic, it was existing because of his past, and it will exist so on, because he is a man of that past. You are an observer of the situation. There is something called being an observer. And then there is this man, Jivatma. You are Paramatma. You are observing the man. The man has a past, has a life, and you are observing. You need to understand there is an observer who observes. And all he does is observe. And he observes everything he wants to observe. But nothing that he observes comes from his observation. That is the concept. If you want to take it into a social setting, well, it's basically human respect, that people have lives, people have dignity, people have abilities. They don't certainly come because of someone, they come because of situations, they come because of hard work, they come because of resilience, they come because of sustaining through situations. You can't judge character, because character is existing even when you are not judging. So it is important to understand this. This, what is alive will always be, what dies has never been. So if there is change in behavior, for example, if people are acting up, if they're acting differently, either one is true, both can never be. Either they like you or they don't. Either they are yay or nay. They can't be both friend and foe. They're either this or that. And if they are friend, then the enemy has been an act. If they are enemy, then the friend has been an act. But what was will always be. Because whatever causes this to be today, naturally will cause it to be tomorrow. There is a world. The world has caused this man to behave in a particular way today. The world will also cause this ability tomorrow. Whatever made the man to play music will also give him the ability to play music tomorrow. Man is already playing music. Man already has it in him to play music. So man will also have it in him tomorrow. But if man suddenly stops playing music, then there is some other cause because of which he stopped playing music. Doesn't mean he doesn't have the ability. If a person has loved you so far, a person has it in them to love you. The person will continue loving you. But then again, if a person suddenly stops loving you, then either one is true. Either they never loved you, or they love you but they don't want to show it to you. If they never loved you, then it was all an act. And people can act. People can act very well, by the way. So mostly this little line, what is alive will always be, what dies has never been, is something that I apply to relationships a lot more than is seen. I take these two lines and live most of my life with it. Either you like me or you don't. Either you are my friend or my enemy. You are never both. There is no such thing as confusion. And I will observe until I get clarity. That is it. Na drishtat tad siddhir nivritterapi anivritti darshanat.